now?
Okay, so recruiting, like what even is recruiting and why do we recruit? So it's like one of the major things that I don't care if you call it a coldie or a reach out message or a discovery message, like I don't care what it is, but in order to be successful in this business, you've got to reach out to people and discover if they have a need that we can help with. Like you have to discover if they want what we, or if they want what we have, right? And so that literally is like recruiting right there. Like you have to reach out to people. There's so many times when, oops, what am I doing here? There's so many times when we feel like I can't do reach outs or coldies or whatever you want to call it, cold messages, whatever it is, because I don't want to feel salesy, right? Like, have you ever felt that? Like, I don't want to be salesy, or has anybody ever told you that? I can't do what you do because I don't want to be salesy.
Katie, I literally
Yeah.
got a message like that today. Somebody was like, I'm interested in what you do, but I don't know if I can do that. Like, I don't want to be salesy. That's what's her exact words.
Yeah. And that's like actually one of my favorite objections, because I just feel like I can just like work with that. Like, that's amazing, because I don't want you to be salesy either. Like, I don't want any of you all here to be salesy or feel salesy or slimy or sleazy or any of that, right? Like, no. Okay, so how? Like, how do you not be salesy? Okay, well, number one, you've got to be authentic. That is why it is so challenging for me to give my team like message ideas, because I'm like, this sounds like me. I say dude, I don't say y'all. I'm in California, you know? If I sent a message to somebody and it said y'all, they'd be like, no, right? So number one, like you've got to be authentic. You have to be.
And
You
Katie,
need to make yeah.
can we just like tag team these a little bit too?
Yeah, yes.
Because another thing on being authentic, you guys, is like go to their Facebook wall and check their Facebook page before you message them. Like, I remember one time, y'all, I was so thankful I did that, because literally her grandma had died like that day. And I was like, holy crap, that would have been so rude. And so like that is another way you can be authentic. Go look and see what they've been going through. Have they been sick lately? Have they been in a good season, a bad season, a hard season? Like, so that's another way.
And I think we all have to like flip our script and our mindset to realize that like the point of reaching out is absolutely not to sell someone on anything. The point of reaching out is to connect and is to realize or discover if they have a pain or a struggle that we can help with. Like, discover their pain is the reason why we are sending these messages. It is not to make a sale. In fact, like I cannot think of a time ever in my entire 2 years where I reached out to someone and they signed up in that initial message within minutes. I mean, yes, it happens every once in a while, but no, like I have to discover their pain and we have to have a conversation, and even we have to build that like mutual trust, right? And so like that is what your coldie, your initial reach out, your discovery message, whatever you're going to call it is like the expectation is to discover their pain and help unwrap it and uncover it, not to make a sale, like at all. Complimenting them. So again, like Jordan said, going back to their social media, like if there's something that you're seeing that they're talking a lot about, maybe they learned how to bake sourdough bread, I don't know, whatever it is, like, but you're a genuine, authentic compliment. Like it is not just like, hey, like copy pasted because I sent this to the last 5 people that had cute kids. No, it's like a genuine compliment on them. Like that is important. Okay, but also like you actually need to be their friend. You actually need to care. You actually need to realize that this conversation will likely go on for months and months and months before you will ever get down to the root of their pain enough for them to be like, yes, okay, this is something that I need. I trust you. I trust our relationship and our mutual respect that has gone back and forth, right? You actually need to be their friend. And that is not just in that message thread. That is on their social media. That is engaging with what they're talking about. That is being excited for them when they get a new job or when they have something exciting happening. It's all of that. It's not just only talking to them when you sent them that cold message. And you also have to remember, and I know I say this to my team all the time, but like one way that I've really helped to flip that script for me in terms of like being nervous to reach out about the business, especially, is I'm sharing about something that truly has made a difference for me and I truly love, like with my entire being. And I truly feel like if I'm not sharing it, I'm disservicing my friends and family. Like, and I legitimately feel that to my core. So I shamelessly share about it because I feel like, just like if you had, I mean, just like our products, but just like if you had the cure to cancer and you didn't share it, like you would be disservicing people, right? This is the same way I feel about our products and our business. Like I'm disservicing you if I'm not giving you, reaching out to you about it, right? You're also disservicing them if you're just expecting that they're going to reach out to you because you posted about it on your social media. Like that's not going to happen.
We call that posting and praying here. Has anybody ever said, I think I just want to like take it slow. I don't really think I want to message people. I think I just want to post for a while, and just see where that goes. You guys, that to me is salesy. Like,
Yeah.
if you have a thing that you love, why are you not in my inbox? If you actually have a thing that you love and you only talk about it twice a month, do you really love it?
Right.
Like, so to me, that's like the opposite of owning a business and taking care of your business and really loving what you do. It's, I'm nervous. I don't really know if I want to do this. I have one foot in. So it's like the opposite.
Yeah. And I think that kind of brings us to our next point about like it's kind of like, it's a pretty little package, right? So yes, you've got, in order to recruit people, you've got to send messages. You've got to reach out to people. You've got to be excitedly in people's inboxes, right? But you've also got to be building your credibility. And you do that by consistently posting and showing up on your social media. And so for me, like if I've been reached out to hundreds of times for different reasons, right? But if like the people that I'm like, okay, well maybe like, yes, because they're passionately posting about it all the time, and that builds your credibility. If you don't ever post about it and you're just reaching out, that is slimy and salesy. Like that feels yucky, and it should feel yucky to you when you're doing it, because it's like people don't even know who you are, where you are. You haven't showed up on social media since high school, and here you are sending them a message. Like that is not what we want to do at all. Like not at all. But we want people to know, like we want it to be a trigger. When I reach out to you and I talk to you about this business, I want you to say, oh yes, I loved that you were on that trip in Mexico. Like that looked so fun. I want them to have that relatability with me. And I also know that like people will receive my messages better when they've seen me passionately showing up. Chan, you can't replace one for the other. Like you can't say I'm going to send all these messages to thousands of people, but I'm not going to post on social media, or I'm going to post and pray that people just reach out to me. Like that's not going to happen. You've got to do them both. They're mutually exclusive.
Hey, Katie, real quick too.
Yeah.
I'm curious, who on here, who did your sponsor come to you, or did you go to your sponsor? My sponsor definitely came to me multiple times. I mean, like 7 to 10 times probably.
Yeah.
Sponsor.
And the other thing about like talking on your social media and sharing on your social media and being someone's friend on your social media is that like you really truly are their friend. And so like if you know that they are sick, like you actually do send them food, or if you know that they just had a baby, you make them a lasagna. Like you legit are you're their friend, you're genuine, you're authentic, and that takes away all of that salesiness. You're not going out of your way to bring someone food because you want them to join Plexus with you. You're going out of your way because you like them and you want to be their friend and you want them in your circle. And obviously you want people who are doing Plexus in your circle too, right? But they're all happening at the same time. So consistently showing up on your social media is going to build that credibility, and then sending those discovery type messages out. Both of them have to be happening for recruiting to happen. Okay. I see lots of people saying, yeah.
The biggest shift I have ever implemented and like seen the most reward in my personal business is when I stopped treating this like a sales business and started treating it as a relationship business. And like, of course, I want to grow my numbers. Of course, I want to hit a certain rank. Of course, we have rank up months and everything's crazy. But when I intentionally put the relationship of that person before the sale, the fruit always comes. And there were so many times where I would just go to meet with a girlfriend just because I genuinely wanted to catch up with him and just see what was going on in their life. But because I had been consistently posting and consistently sharing for so long, like they already knew who I was. They already knew what I was about without me even have to say anything at the dinner table. But it came up organically in conversation because I was so authentic and so like front. I don't even know what the right word is. So forward with that relationship. Like I really put that first. And the sale just came naturally. It came organically. And the retention on those people, when you put the relationship first, is years and years and years, not a couple weeks. The people that I don't have a relationship with, like literally fall off after a month and they don't respond to any of my texts. Like I know you've all dealt with that. And that's the result of just not having a relationship with them.
Yeah. And I just wanted to add on, like, in terms of the 4 pillars in general, like when you have the relationship built with someone, you can recruit them easier, you can retain them easier, and you can help them duplicate easier because they trust you. They trust you to guide them through their products. They trust you to keep them happy and finding a combo that works for them. And then when they decide to share, they trust your system, what you're doing. Like once you've built that relationship, it all just falls so much more into place. So that's absolutely right. And I just wanted to say, lots of people are saying, I followed for a year, I did a post. I think Kimmy's the only one who says, I went to my sponsor. So that's pretty funny. And I like that. So I have a question for you all as you're thinking about like, okay, so I have to send messages. So you like, who do you send messages to? And do you message them like right away about Plexus, or do you build a relationship first? Like, so kind of that's like the next, she says she's a weirdo. That's like the next, your next step. Like, okay, I'm ready to do this thing. I'm ready to start recruiting. I'm going to earn that leaders retreat trip. What do I do now? Like, how does this roll next? Like, who do I message? Whatever, right? So in terms of like who you message, have you talked to these people before? Are they in your warmer market or like your super colder market? And warmer market meaning like people that you have a relationship with already. Colder market would be like that friend on social media who you haven't talked to in like 10 years, right? So that is going to be like your guiding space for like where your conversations are going to start, right? If it's someone that you haven't talked to in like 10 years, you should probably call out the fact that like you haven't talked to them in 10 years. And I think Jordan has a example of that we'll show you in a second.
Let's say, do you want me to go ahead and pull those up and we can just talk through them?
Yep.
Okay, we figured the best way to coach you through how to message is to show you a bunch of messages, and we're going to tell you why they're good, why we've sent them. And these are real messages from most of us on this team. So let me share my screen really fast.
Are y'all going to share any what not to do?
We decided that we were going to focus more on positives and like the encouraging part than the negative. But we will share like why we didn't say XYZ.
Jordan, press present and then make it full screen.
Yeah. Can
there we
y'all
go.
see
Yeah, that's
all
big.
of it?
Mm-hmm. It's big for me. I'm on my computer.
Okay, cool. I want it down here. There it is. Okay. So let's talk. First off, there's a couple of different ways we can reach out. Okay. I personally love reaching out for the business, and I can't see the chat. So if you are scared to reach out for the business, will you unmute and say me? Scared, nervous, uncomfortable.
I used to be, and I never would have.
What was the question again? I spaced out.
Is anybody uncomfortable messaging for the business?
I definitely
I've been hesitant
still
to do that.
don't start with that. That'd be me.
Not uncomfortable. I just don't know how to start it.
Okay.
Same here. I just, with some people, depending upon the person, I have an issue trying to figure out how to approach them without being weird.
Okay, let's talk about how to approach somebody without being weird. I love it. That's the perfect segue. Okay. First off, I do that exactly. I approach someone being weird. Like I approach them being myself and saying exactly what I want to say. And if I could give you any tip, it would be say exactly what's on your heart. And so here's some examples of some business reach outs. Hey, how are you? Your kids are getting so big. I've loved seeing your son learn to ride the big boy bike. I don't know why, but I'm super nervous to message you about this. So I'm just going to come out and say it. Plexus has been really amazing for my life as a mom, the free trips with Zach, the energy and the community, especially because let's be real, how do you even find real friends once you're an adult? Have you thought about adding supplements into your routine or maybe doing something like this from home? Because I would love to be your person and we would have a blast. Okay, let's break this down really fast. And we have a bunch of messages that I just really want you guys to either, so you can screenshot these, but the key here is to use what we teach you and then to make it your own. We are not copy paste robots. If you would not say that, if you wouldn't say that to a friend at a party, don't say it to a friend in a message. It's not going to sound like you. So the first part of that, I think this is actually one of Katie's, but she connected with them in the beginning. She told him exactly how she felt. She's nervous. Okay. I remember Brooke Hemingway one time was like, don't admit that you're nervous. I'm like, dude, I can admit if I'm nervous, I'm going to tell him. So tell him exactly how you're feeling. Tell him why you're feeling it. Tell him in one sentence how this has been a blessing for you. Like in 2 sentences, we shared my story basically. And then always end in a question. And this one has 2 questions. Have you ever thought about adding supplements into your routine? Or doing something like this from home? Like I would respond to that message. Would y'all? Because I would. Option 2 is, and y'all can read these, but I want to read them out loud. I always start with their name. And then you've been on my heart for literally 6 months now. I have wanted to reach out to you, but I have been way too nervous because we haven't seen each other in a while. You are so connected and cool and fit, and I'm just a big scaredy cat. And I care very much about your opinion of me. And I don't want you to think I'm a crazy toddler mom. I want to tell you that I think you would love the products. They're so natural and healthy, and you would kill the business side of Plexus if that's anything you'd ever want to take advantage of. You care so deeply for others, and you are a hard worker. Those 2 qualities seriously go hand in hand with the climate of our team. Have you ever been curious about Plexus before? Have you ever tried the products? Y'all, that's an actual message I sent in 2018 to a girl that was a dream teamer of mine. And she like commented like 3 like GIFs with cats, okay? After I said I was a scaredy cat. But like break it down. I said exactly what was on my heart. I complimented her, which was one of the things that Katie said to do. I told her why she would be good at this. And then I ended in a question. Like that is I said exactly what I wanted to say to her. Does anybody have questions about these, or are you like, wow, I've never like said anything that open, or just any comments about these 2?
I did just see one comment that just said like it made her, Audrey, I think said it, I don't remember now, but said like she liked this reminder because she feels like sometimes her reach outs are too long, and you know, these are longer messages. And so I do think it's important to like realize that, especially like for me, especially like I'm just gonna throw it out there. I'm not gonna I feel a little bit fake if I'm like, hey, how are you? How's your kids? Da, da, da. And we have this back and forth. And then I'm like, oh, by the way, have you seen? So I like these longer messages because you do compliment, you do get the, hey, haven't talked to you in a while, whatever out there. But then you're also like, yeah, I have an agenda, like, but you're going to respect me because of I'm coming out and just saying that here's my agenda. Like, here's why I'm reaching out to you. I personally cannot stand it when someone has this back and forth with me and then throws their agenda in there. Then I'm like, dude, I just got totally played. So the longer message
like
kind
you
of
trap
resolves
them.
that. Yeah, exactly.
Like you get people in conversation and they're going, and then you're like, let's talk about Plexus.
Yeah.
And they like have to respond. So like when you put it up front like this, people have the option to say like, yeah, I would love to start this conversation, or no, thank you, it's not a good time. And like Katie said, like 99% of the time they're going to say, no, thank you. Like, I don't have a need. I don't see myself doing this, but.
And then the
Yeah.
key here, you guys, and we'll talk about follow-up next week, and we'll talk about like how to keep the conversation going. But like if somebody tells you no, it's okay. And then you keep the conversation going as friends. And that is like so key. Don't get your feelings hurt when they say no, thank you. And then you're like, oh, I have to cry for an hour. No, okay, that's totally fine. I totally get that. I actually waited for 2 years. I'll get back with you in a year, winky face. How's your family been? Okay. So let's go on to the next one. Okay. So those were some business reach outs. Personally, I love reaching out for the business. I find it way easier than just for the products. So after liking a post, do you guys know that like if somebody, we're either starting conversations via a list of people that we call like our cold market, right? Like they haven't said I'm interested per se, or if you're posting enough and you're showing up enough and you're adding enough value to the people on your social media, you will have people liking or voting on a poll or commenting here and there. And that is when it's like, oh, okay, great. I have this whole list of people I can go message. I've been at this for 4.5 years. I have a lot less people liking my stuff than y'all do. Okay, I promise you that. So after liking and commenting on a post is a really great way to get the conversation started. Every single person,
Hey,
do
buddy.
not
Are you looking for
prejudge.
daddy? He's not in here.
Do not prejudge them. Like, oh, they probably don't need the products. Oh, they're probably just liking my post because they're my family member, they're my best friend. Dude, no. Message them, tell them thank you like a real person would, and then ask them if they want more info. Like, so I want you to screenshot these. But like that's one I actually sent to my friend Alex, and she signed up like the next month after getting a sample. Hey Alex, I feel like I know you so well. And I really did. I'd never met her in person. And then just curious if you see my post about plexus, which I already knew she had because she'd been liking them. It's basically working mom's best friend. Do you have any questions about it? Always end in a question, you guys. And then the other one, thanks so much for liking my plexus post. I know the like seems small, but I appreciate your support. Have you ever tried plexus before? That's a Lauren Davis one, right? So that's another tool in your toolbox to start conversations. Here's some more. Someone's on your mind. Katie, do you want to take this one or these?
Yeah. So, and like someone's on your mind. It just reminds me so much of Marissa, because I remember when Marissa first got started, it was just like, she ranked up so fast because people were coming on her mind. And when they came on her mind, she messaged them. And so this one's, hi, Amy, how was your weekend? Did you guys do anything fun? I was in Atlanta, now catching up on life, including mountains of laundry. Laugh a lot. I've been thinking about you so much. I remember you mentioning the migraines you were having. This may or may not be for you, but I know a lot of people just like you that have been helped with the plant-based supplements I've been taking. If I sent you some info, would you be open to checking it out? Okay. This one has some really good trigger phrases in it. The first one being, this may or may not be for you. You're kind of giving them an out, but you're also going to provide the information. And then the last one is, if I blank, would you blank? That business, that reach out model is highly, highly successful. What did this say? If I sent you some info, would you be open to checking it out? Like, that's really, really simple for someone to write back and say like, yeah, I'd love to check it out. Even if they never checked it out, like that's going to probably get you a response asking that question. And this is another biz reach out over here. Hey, Jessica, I know this is random, but I want to be really open with why I'm messaging you up front. I haven't seen that you've been struggling with anything in particular, but in case you might be suffering in silence like I did for years, I at least wanted to reach out. I talk all the time about how much plexus has done for our family's health, digestive issues, our weight, not that that is even remotely a problem for you, skinny mini, there's that compliment. And since making it my full-time job, God has done some major things with this opportunity that I totally judged for years. So curious if you've ever thought about trying the products or doing something like this for home. There's another phrase in there, the curious, just curious. It just makes it very simple. Like, I'm just truly curious if this is something you've ever thought about. And again, this one shared a little bit of the story, like all right in there, like complimented, shared a story, asked a question. It was very simple and basic. So both of those are like, screenshot them, because both of those are just really simple. And obviously, like, everyone is going to be different. Like that, you cannot copy and paste that. Like, you can't. So don't. But make it your own and follow this kind of, you can follow it as skeleton, basically. Yeah.
Yep. These are a couple more because y'all, there's times where we're just like, okay, there's gonna be seasons of your business where you have a lot of people coming to you. Maybe you're like really spitting some awesome social media game. Like you're going live every week, you are adding value like crazy, you've got people liking and commenting and asking questions. There's also going to be seasons where, you know, I remember after I went senior gold, almost all the way to senior ruby, I felt like I was having to work for every person that came that I helped get started with Plexus. Like I was having to message a lot of people, and that's totally okay. So messages like these are great for situations like that. I don't want to call them generic, but like somebody's on your mind. So I've loved seeing all of your pictures of your kids. They're so adorable, amazing. Have we already done this one? No. She's relating to her as a mom. And then I know hardworking, multitasking mama, when I see one, compliment. And that's just a sign to me that you'd rock this. Have you ever thought about doing something like this from home? The question that the other one ends with is I'd love to be a resource for you. Are you familiar with Plexus at all? Yeah, that's a great one, because when they say no, be like, oh my gosh, we've got this event coming up. I need to get you into it so that I can show you what this is, right? So it's like a door into the next step, which we'll talk about next week. But
And I was going to say that totally reminds me of this that I didn't mention in the beginning that I meant to, is when you're sending these messages, like your end game, of course, at the end of the day, like you want them to join you, you want them to get their welcome pack, right? That's your total end game, right? But this message is like 99% not going to lead you right to that right now. They're not going to be like, yes, I want all the things. I want to do, all the things. Go silver. Like they don't know that. But it is going to open the door if they say yes to the next step, to inviting them to something, to sending them a sample, to getting them reading information, to adding them to our pages, all of that stuff. Like it's going to start that process. You can't start that process rolling if you never send those messages and talk about it. So that's how we start this process. That's how we start our system, getting in people's inboxes. So that reminded me, thank you.
no, I mean, and I think that where a lot of people go wrong, where I've gone wrong before, is I give them too much, y'all. The initial message is not a presentation. It is an invitation to learn more. It's not a presentation, it's an invitation. The invitation is to learn more, okay? So we are not saying, hey, I've got this event, you should come do this. You would love my supplements. They are all natural. They do this and this and this and XYZ, and give them all the ingredients. Like that is not what this is. Okay. So notice none of these have done any of that. We have not presented any information. We've shared a story, complimented them, asked a question. All right. Now event invite. If you are brand spanking new, you probably have some best friends that are just like your ride or dies, your family. You could send a message like this to, and they'd be like, sure, add me. I'll support you however I need to support you. I remember Tara Upton, which was Katie Burns' friend. We were on a power hour together. She goes, hey, I've got this friend, Katie, and I really want to get her on Plexus. And I said, okay, well, what do you want to send her? Like, what do you want to message her? And she goes, well, I mean, we do everything together, so we should probably do this too. She goes, I was like, well, send that. But then that's literally what she sent her. Katie, we do everything together. We should probably do this thing too. You're doing it with me. And Katie said, okay, what is it? Like, and then she signed up. Okay. So if you're new, it's a little bit different. You have a lot of these people that you can just text like that. That love you. That'll just do it. So here's an event invite that I really like. I know Gina just had one and she had a lot of success with hers. April already has like 15 people, or I don't even know if you're on this call. She literally set up her event tonight and has 15 people in her event, and she personally messaged all of them. So there's a good event invite. I think that's all that we've got on the share. Katie.
Yeah. So you might have heard us talk or say the words IPA, and this is essentially how we work our business. It's the activities that actually produce income in our business. Okay. What we just talked about is basically the hugest part of your IPA. So when it's like, okay, when you hear us say like, oh, we're going to do a power hour, or we're going to work our business, like that is what you should be sitting down and doing. Okay. Social media, like scrolling on social media, or even, I mean, yes, you have to post as part of it, right? But like, if you are not sending messages, you are not doing your IPA. Like, you have to be sending out messages. You've got to be connecting with people in messages. You've got to be texting them, calling, like whatever you need to do to get with your people and like talk to them about what you're doing and what you're loving and all of that stuff. Like, that's your IPA. Like, so when we talk about doing power hours and doing IPA, like, this is the hugest part of it. So we just wanted, like, we wanted to make sure you all know that this is what, like, this is the income producing activities that you should be doing if you want this business. And I heard a quote or something, I think Christina Williams said it when she was doing a training or something, but she said, in our industry, so not just Plexus, but like in our industry, if you were to do your IPA every single day, you would be at the top of your company in 10 years. And she predicted that the statistic for Plexus is like about half of that. So like, if you were to do your IPA for 5 years, every single day, like, you would be at the top of the company. And I would even predict you could do it faster. If you legitimately did your IPA every single day, you could probably do it in like 2 or 3.
I would say 3 to 5 for sure.
Yeah.
And that would be like, and that's totally worth it. If you could spend 30 minutes to an hour a day and make in between $25,000 and $45,000 a month, yeah, worth it. Okay, and then Katie, was there anything else we want to talk to you about IPA? Because I really would like to take questions on messaging.
Yeah, and the only other thing that we wanted to mention, hold on, I want to pull it up, is like, but just a little bit about failure tolerance before we answer questions. And in terms of like legitimately, the only difference between me or a silver and a diamond or a double diamond is that they've sent more messages and they've been told no a whole heck of a lot of times, right? But they've consistently sent those messages. They've consistently reached out to people. That's the only thing. They've been told no a lot more times than I have or any of you guys have. And so like, that should be your goal. Like, your goal should be to be told no 100 more times, because that means that eventually all those times you're getting told no, eventually you're going to be told yes, and you're going to be told yes, and you're going to be told yes. So just keep that in mind, because it's a really important thing to remember. Like, if you are consistent, you're showing up and you're doing your IPA, you're going to make good things happen.
Yeah. And also, y'all, messaging is fun. Have you ever told yourself, I love discovery messages? I love getting to actually choose who I work with. Like, how, to me, I love messaging people and complimenting them by saying, hey, listen, out of all the people on Facebook, or out of all the people I could message, I'm messaging you because I want to do life with you more. And like, I love that I get to choose who I get to surround myself with. Like, it makes it that much more fun. And I was going to show y'all some messages that I sent Callie Beal. She actually has a post, and I'll probably put it in our team thread, but it shows you like the messages that I sent her. Like, I don't even know how many messages, Callie. It was like 7 or 8 or something, but I started with an event invite and then went to another event invite, and then finally ended up just saying, can I send you samples to your door? So I think I just want to encourage y'all to get really bold and to have a lot of fun with this. You are not a salesy person. You are not. And they will say yes eventually when the timing is right on their end. But you've got to be the one to be there whenever it is time for them. Just like for me, 2 years later, y'all, I was at like the pit of despair after my sponsor had been messaging me over and over and over. And I was so thankful she was there that day. And I still like probably need to kiss her, because she's literally changed our life. And so I want y'all to have that mindset. I get to go change people's lives because I'm consistent and I'm really good at messaging people in an authentic way. So, do y'all have questions about, I'm going to stop recording.